Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Free Thought Podcast. Today, we are going to be discussing Biden's thoughts and policies on immigration. The following recording is an excerpt from our episode about Biden and Trump's policies for 2020. If you want to hear more about this, the full episode will be linked in the description.
Moving along, we're going to change topics and we're going to talk about Biden's immigration plan. Biden, on his website, he says that he will ultimately begin working with Congress to modernize our system, the immigration system, with a priority on keeping families together by providing a roadmap to citizenship for nearly 11 million undocumented immigrants. And so essentially, what Biden wants to do is he wants to grant citizenship to 11 million illegal immigrants or undocumented immigrants, as he puts it.
And to compare it to Trump is obviously one of the biggest parts of his 2016 campaign was his promise to build a wall and make Mexico pay for it. And then obviously, he actually never ended up doing that. He asked for money from Congress to do it, and he only built 3 miles of it. I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So that never happened, but also, but I'm glad because I didn't support it in the first place. But what he has been doing for border control is essentially the camps on the border, which I think we can agree on. They're treating people inhumanely. They're splitting up families. I've heard that there's a lot of sexual assault going on between the officers there and the children. It's awful that it's happening. So let's start off. I want to hear what you, Chad, have to say. Like, what is your stance comparing both candidates on immigration, and what do you think of what each of them are planning to do?
I could go into what Biden wants to do. Like I said before, he wants to grant citizenship to 11 million illegal immigrants. And in the Biden-Sanders Unity Task Force recommendations document, they said that by shutting people out and closing the door on these immigrants, this is essentially against the values of America, and it's not a good representation of American values. And this is why the Biden is committed to building a 21st century immigration system that reflects our values. Now, I just want to dive into this a little deeper. When we think of our values, what are a couple things that come to mind? One thing that comes to my mind is equality. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, no, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with that in mind, I just want to ask a rhetorical question. How would letting 11 million illegal immigrants become legal immigrants with essentially a snap of a finger be equal or fair at all? I just want to raise that point.
So do you want to hear my answer to that?
Yeah, sure.
Here's my stance on the immigration system and your question in some regard. I think that frequently people make the mistake of saying, "Oh, they're committing a crime. They are the problem here."
Yeah. I'm not saying that they're the problem. I'm just saying.
No. I'm just talking in general. Don't worry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, don't worry. But essentially, I've had conversations with people who are supporters of Trump, and especially Trump's immigration plans. And to that, and I have a problem with people who seem to blame the immigrants completely, because with any crime, really, you have to understand what causes people to commit crime. There are a certain set of conditions that lead to every crime, really. I hate to generalize, but a lot of crimes, there are things that lead to them, and there are reasons that people commit crimes. And I think one of the biggest reasons that people often revert to immigrating here illegally is because of the broken system. The system can take years. You can be denied countless times. And some people simply don't have years. They're fleeing from places that their safety is in jeopardy. And so I think that to blame only the immigrants for coming here illegally, when there's clearly a problem with the system itself, is negligent of the actual problems in our country. So I would say that, yeah, I think that it's absolutely necessary to help the 11 million, that's the number you cited, the 11 million immigrants who are here illegally become legal, because everyone has a right to a better place to live. Everyone has a right to the opportunities that America offers. So I think that in terms of putting it in terms of fair, I would say that it's not a matter of fair. I would say that comparing illegal immigrants getting to, as you said, instantly become legal to the immigrants that came here legally, like through the long process, isn't a fair comparison because everyone comes from different backgrounds. And so great, if someone was able to immigrate here legally with the process, that's excellent. However, I don't think that we should be blaming or comparing those who didn't come here legally to those who did. And I think that personally, this is the way I side on it. I think Biden has the exact right idea about immigration, and Trump's rhetoric around immigration has only caused more division and more covert racism against people who come from other countries and against, just people who are foreign to America. So I have a problem with both its effect and it itself. And I am actually strongly in favor of Biden's stance on immigration. Sorry, that was kind of a long way of putting it, but yeah, I just wanted to make sure I was clear.
Okay. Yeah.
What do you think about each plan?
I just wanted to point out that, it does take many years to gain citizenship here in the U.S. It all depends. There are many different factors going into it. It depends on your job. It also depends on your country's quota, which is pretty much how many years you need to hold your green card before you can apply for citizenship. And there are around 800,000 people who become naturalized citizens in the U.S. each year, meaning there are 800,000 people who actually become a U.S. citizen each year. And I guess if you do the math at this rate of naturalization, it would take approximately 13 to 14 years to admit these undocumented immigrants here in the U.S. But of course, things could change drastically. So the number of people who do become naturalized could skyrocket or something like that. But I think one of the biggest problems with the immigration that other people think is the fact that you're prioritizing these undocumented immigrants over the law-abiding immigrants, and by doing so, you could be giving off, I guess, the thought that you're almost rewarding these illegal immigrants. Of course, I don't think I'm not in support of that.
That's not what you believe, but you're just saying that that's what people may believe.
Yeah, some people are against this immigration policy because of that thought process. And so these undocumented immigrants should not be punished, but you also shouldn't reward them. Should they not be waiting in line like the rest of the immigrants? Like, I guess what gives them the priority? Why should they get immigration over people who have been waiting years to even get the chance to apply?
You bring up a really good point, and I think it's important to acknowledge that point because it's the belief that so many Americans hold. And so the way I think about it is the reason that people have an objection, sorry, let me rephrase. The problem that a lot of people have, the very problem is illegal immigrants, correct? People coming in and not coming here legally and becoming citizens. That's the problem that we're trying to address. And so I think to have a jealous objection to that and say that it's not fair is actually it's misguided, because the very problem is that we're trying to get people who are here illegally to be here legally. So if you're worried about a matter of fairness, you're simply diverting from the point. And if you truly are in favor of eliminating the problem of illegal immigration, this is something you should support. You should support illegal immigrants becoming legal here. And so I think that while I see the point people bring up around how is it fair, I think the thing that we should be discussing is not fairness. It's how do we eliminate this issue? And we eliminate this issue by helping people who are here legally become legal residents. And so I hope that was clear. I think that essentially what I'm trying to say is that if one brings up fairness in reference to all of this, the discussion over immigration, they're actually missing the point. It's not about fairness. It's about getting from point A to point B, and point B is legalizing people's residences here.
I just wanted to point out another sort of, I guess, point that someone that's opposed to this could make is the fact that if this does happen, then there are going to be many immigrants or illegal immigrants, new illegal immigrants coming across the border. Because I think this process isn't just going to happen in a month. I think it'll take years. And so I think what the opposition could also make, a point the opposition could also make, is the fact that there could be many new illegal immigrants coming in with the hope that, oh, now I can become a legal immigrant. So what are your thoughts about that point that the opposition can make?
Yeah. So to clarify, what you're saying essentially is like people who are already against, who are like on Trump's side in terms of immigration, could also say, well, this would encourage more people to come here because it's easier to get here.
Yeah. I think that's what they're trying to make.
Yeah, I guess if I heard someone argue that, I would say, and these are all speculations. I haven't looked. I don't know if there's a study proving this or proving them, or this is a speculation on my part. I think people are going to come here regardless, and I think that's a fact. However, so if we can make it so they come here legally rather than illegally, that's a win. I think, like I said, there are people coming into the U.S. So why not make it easier for them to come here legally? I just, I think that the two options aren't keep everyone out versus let everyone in. It's let everyone come here legally or let everyone come here illegally, because even if there is a wall, people will try and come in, and I feel like I'm not articulating my point well. What I'm trying to say is people are, let me rephrase. People are going to come here regardless. So what would we prefer? Would we prefer that they come here legally or illegally? Of course, we would say legally, because that's the very issue we're discussing. We're trying to avoid illegal immigration. So I think saying that more people will come here simply because the process isn't impossible is, again, it exhibits not a full understanding of the very issue. I think the issue is, are people coming here legally or are they not? And the goal is for them to come here legally, if that makes sense.
All right. I think that wraps things up.
Yeah,
thank you, everyone.
Yeah,
thank you, everyone, for listening to this week's episode. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please feel free to email us at thefreethoughtpodcast@gmail.com. That's thefreethoughtpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you.
Thank you.